Hello, this is Ray Edwards once again from LearnCopy.com and WebCopywriting.com with another installment of copywriting tips and tricks. In this session, we're going to be looking at the subject of under-hyping to win more sales. You know, there's a saying in my country that goes something like this: a fisherman never says his fish is bad. But should he, if he wants to make more sales? Hype has become a word that many online marketers are shying away from. Yet each person has his or her own definition of what constitutes hype. I just type in the word hype at answers.com and here are two definitions that the dictionary returned. Number one, hype is exaggerated or extravagant claims made especially in advertising or promotional material, such as it is pure hype, a gigantic PR job. 2. Sometimes deliberately misleading, a deception. For example, he says that there isn't any energy crisis at all, that it's all a hype, to maintain outrageous profits for the oil companies. Now, even from those two definitions, we see that one indicates exaggeration, which makes up the figure of speech called a hyperbole, and the other suggests deliberate deception. I think that most marketers will want to shy away from deceiving their prospects. From that perspective, hype will not just be wrong, but unethical. But what most people see as hype normally involves a high-pressure direct selling sales letter that uses many superlatives and promises much more than the product or service can deliver. For example, to make the purchaser rich overnight with little effort on their part and instant success and gratification. This style of writing has become so popular on the internet that most people have become immune to such sales letters. The kind of sales copy that now stands out is the one that is more down to earth and shows a human side. By human side, I mean openly admitting to the downside or faults of your ways. This, of course, is a counterintuitive approach. Who wants to admit that they are selling faulty products? In fact, the real purpose of a sales letter is to get us sales, not to drive people away. So if logic and common sense hold true, you should show all the great benefits that your product or service offers and be silent about the weaknesses. But a big issue, especially on the internet, is a matter of credibility. And when you are willing to say that your product or service is not the perfect solution, then your credibility just shoots right up through the roof. You become believable and transparent, and it shows that you have nothing to hide. In other words, it's when you are weak that you are strong. Those words are taken from the Bible story about the Apostle Paul, who prayed to God to take away his thorn in the flesh. His request wasn't granted, but instead he was told that he is stronger when he is weaker. You see, the Apostle Paul was such a perfect Christian that he needed something to remind him that he was still human. There is something interesting that I realize about the American public. They are willing to forgive you of the most serious blunders, whether public or private, if you admit to them. But if you are found out while trying to hide these imperfections, then the public and media will simply rip you apart. The same will happen in your marketing as well. If you admit to the weaknesses of your products, then you will make more sales. Let us look at some ways in which you can do this. A. This one is obvious, but you should still say that your product is not for everyone and then define your market. This works to build exclusivity for your product and at the same time show that you are not trying to sell to the entire world. Another way in which you can do this is to admit that there may be better products than yours, but they are more expensive. You can then show that yours will be a bargain for the price that you're offering. Another way in which you can do this is, instead of pretending to be a guru, State that you are just starting out and that's why you are so reasonable in your fees, of course, if this is the actual case. Yet another way in which you can do this is to be honest about the average results that your product brings to your customer. It's customary to show your best results in the testimonials that you use with that disclaimer, tucked in fine print at the end that these results are not typical. Since the law requires this, why not just be upfront about it? Yet another way is always on the promise and over deliver. Did you get that? Always on the promise and over deliver. This will be appreciated by your prospects every time. There's a period just after placing an order when your customer go through a moment of regret and psychological dissonance. Was I foolish to make this purchase? Did I pay a fair price? I wonder if this product would really work as advertised. Well, that's why you should always follow up a sale with a note of thanks for the purchase. This will help to reassure the new customer during this critical period. But if you promise more than you could deliver, then this period of regret will lead only to a request for a refund. Or even worse, a lost customer for life. On the other hand, if you deliver more than you promised, then the customer feels smart about their decision, his or her decision, and for discovering you, you'll have a customer for life. See, even if your fish is perfect, maybe you should sell your customer on your catch being just great and allow the customer to discover your fish is really perfect. You'll catch more customers in the process and maybe more fish too.